Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you so much for watching my course on how to recite ayah number 56 of Surah Al-Ahzab. In this lecture, we're going to be learning about something called the heavy lamb of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think this lecture is going to change your life. Honestly, this is a game-changing lecture, and I hope this is a bold promise which will live up to its expectations by the end of this lecture. So I'm super excited about this because that's how life-changing this lecture I think it is. But let me know if it is or if it isn't, or if I'm just exaggerating. All right. So heavy letter, heavy lamb of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why are we learning this? Because if you go back, if you remember from the introduction, I said essentially we can break this verse down into three pillars. First thing is how long to stretch certain letters. And then the other two areas are to do with heavy letters and light letters. And because we're going from right to left, previous lecture we looked at the noon shadda, inna Allah wa malaikata, and so on. We did the noon shadda, and then the next thing to look at is the heavy lam, or the heavy letters. So you must be wondering, like, what is a heavy letter? How can a letter be heavy? How can a letter be light? I'm going to try my best to break this down with numerous examples so that, it makes sense. If it doesn't, please let me know. And I'm happy to redo these lectures. So let's try. So a heavy letter is basically when your mouth is full of the letter which you're pronouncing. Now in the Quran, you have certain letters which are always heavy, meaning your mouth is always full of that letter. And there are certain letters which are always light. And then there are those which are, there are conditions applied to them based on what's around them. And based on that, they're either heavy or they are light. But first questions first, what does that even mean? How can a letter be heavy? So like I said, it means that your mouth is full of that letter which you're pronouncing. So if you look at kha, for example, the phrase khalidina comes up quite a lot in the Quran. The correct way to say it is khalidina. You can see that my mouth is opening fully, and it's as if my mouth is full of the khalidina. Khalidina is the correct way to say it because it's heavy. The lighter version, which is the incorrect version of this, would be khalidina. Now, to the beginner, the difference between khalidina and khalidina might be very subtle, but once you hear this enough, the difference is between day and night. That's just how different it is, the heavy and the lightness of a particular word, a letter rather. Okay, so because we are focusing purely on this particular ayah of Surah Al-Ahzab, let's stay focused and just look at the heavy and light letters which are in this ayah. Cool. So now that you know that these are the letters which are always heavy, why don't you pause the lecture right now and see how many of these you can find in this verse. Yeah, pause it right now and check it, please. Okay, hopefully you had a quick scan. If you haven't, then don't worry about it. It's fine. You can see that there is a sad in both of these places. Yusalluna ala nabi and amanu alladhina amanu sallu alayhi. Sallu. So my mouth is full of the sad. Okay, so that is the heavy sad in this ayah. But you might remember me saying that, this is going to be a life-changing lecture. And inshallah, I'm hoping you can still see that in the following few minutes. Because there is a special case of the word Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That the Lamb of Allah is sometimes heavy and is sometimes light based on what comes before it. So how do we know if the lam is heavy or if it's light? Well, simple. The lam is always heavy when before the word Allah on the right, because we read right to left in Arabic, if there is a dhamma or if there's a fatha. A dhamma is something that gives an u sound, and fatha is something that gives an a sound. So either there is a dhamma, or if there's a fatha, or if there's nothing. For example, if you're starting off with the word Allah, then the lam, as in this lam here, is heavy. So what does that mean? What does that actually mean? The heavy lam is pronounced as Allah, and the light lam is pronounced as Allah. Allah and Allah. I would encourage you to maybe pause, rewind for a few seconds, and listen to that for a few times. Allah is the heavy lam, and Allah is the light lam. And the ruling is that if there is a fatha or a dhamma before the word Allah, then the lam is heavy. Otherwise, it is light. So it is pronounced as Allah when the dhamma or fatha is before the word Allah. Otherwise, if there's a kasra, then it will be Allah. Cool. I hope that makes sense. Let's apply it in real life in this particular verse. So, what do we say the ruling is? This lam, the one in the middle, is heavy in the word Allah when before it there's a dhamma or a fatha. So please pause the video right now and see if you can see the word Allah in this verse anywhere. And think about if it's going to be heavy or if it's going to be light. All right? All right. I hope you've been. I hope you've found that there's only one place where this word Allah happens, and it is a heavy version of it, which is right here. Allah happens once, and it is heavy because before the word Allah, there's the noon shadda, and on the noon there is a fatha. And we said the rule is if there is a fatha or a dhamma before the word Allah, then it becomes heavy. So what does that mean? What does that really mean in the context of this verse? It means you pronounce it in the following way. Inna Allah, Laha, Inna Allah, Laha. You see, my mouth is full of the word lam, and the reason why is because this lam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is heavy, because before the word Allah there is a fatha on the noon. So you would say Inna Allah. And the wrong way to say it would be to make it light, which would be Inna Laha. Laha makes it light, which makes it wrong. Once again, before the word Allah, there is a fatha on the noon. And that's what makes this Allah heavy. So the right way to say it is Inna Allaha, Laha. And the wrong way to say it would be Inna Laha. Laha makes it light. Alright, so the difference is night and day. Like I said, you've just rewind this lecture, watch it over a few times, listen to some qaris, recite this ayah or anything else, and you'll be able to, inshallah, pick up the difference. Okay, so to summarize real quick, we talked about the heavy lam and the light lam. Actually, let me do it once again. In this particular context of the verse, the lam of the word Allah is heavy because before the word Allah, there's a fatha on the noon shadda. So before the word Allah, there is a fatha on the noon shadda, right? That's what makes this heavy. So it becomes Inna Allaha. Laha is the right way to say it. The wrong way to say it is inna Allah. Okay, so I hope that's enough context for you to differentiate between the heavy lam and the light lam. Now the second thing is the inna Allah. That lam which is heavy is to be stretched for 2 harakas. So inna Allah, 2 harakas. Cool. We've looked at the correct and the wrong and the incorrect examples of this verse. Now, let us contrast it. When is it correct to say the light version of this lam? Well, we say it every day in our salah, don't we? When we say in the first ayah of the Quran, we say Bismillahi. So this lam here is light. The right way to say it is Bismillahi. Lahi is the right way to say it. Why? Because I'm not sure if we can see it. Okay, let me try and get rid of the punctuation here. I mean the spelling correction. Ignore. Yeah. And let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, so you can see this is the word Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right before that, there's the meme and it has a kasra, right, which gives it the misa, meat. And because, what do we say the ruling is for this? We said if before the word Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if there's a fatha or a dhamma, then it's heavy, it's Allah. If there is a kasra, like there is in this case, it makes it light. So it is millahi. Bismillahi is the right way to say it in this particular example. Alright, so I appreciate there was a lot in this lecture and I hope it made sense. If it didn't, please comment below and inshallah I'll try my best to answer your questions. To summarize once again, what we learned in this lecture is that the word Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is heavy because there is a fatha before this word on the noon. So we would say Inna Allah is the right way to say it. Alright, I hope that made sense and this was of some use to you. Thank you so much for watching this lecture. Please like, subscribe, comment below, share this with your friends, and register by clicking on the link below for the step-by-step workbook that complements these lectures. Okay, so see you in the next lecture. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.